In this video, we're working on a truck that I'm going to call the Blues. Am I calling it that? Well, it was supposed to be just a valve adjustment, and it was run a little off. So I went up there, did check the valve adjustment, got on the second valve, well, number 5 cylinder, and I couldn't adjust it. There is no valve lash, which means they are so receded, we have to pull the head. Pulled the head, and sure enough, very bad valve recession. Of course, also found problems with the head gasket. We got some polished liners. So this went from not good to bad. Also have our new Milwaukee half-inch impact. We're going to be trying that out, see if we can remove any head bolts with it. And never tried that before with the half-inch, so that's interesting. We also have, for the first time, I'm going to be trying to use some Interstate McBee parts that the customer got. Never used them before, but I have heard of them. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey guys, Josh with Death Channel, and today what we've got behind me is a beautiful blue Peterbilt with a 5EK in it. And it has some bad valve recession. How do I know? Well, I came out here about a week ago to do an overhead, and let's just say some of them couldn't be adjusted. You'd back off a couple of intake valves all the way, still no gap. So, fortunately, that means the head has to come off, which he wasn't really planning for. But what I'm going to be doing is, I got the new Milwaukee half-inch impact, the shorter one that hits super hard. I'm going to see if it'll take the head bolts off. And just video in general, turn down, and hopefully it doesn't need a rebuild. If it does, though, we'll be finding out in this video. So here's the new Milwaukee, and it's the half-inch one, and it's supposed to hit about 100 foot-pounds harder than the old one, which I actually like my old one quite a bit, the half-inch one, not the 1-inch one I had kept in weak sauce. But as you can see, it's much shorter. It's better balanced. Probably my biggest problem with the Milwaukees was just the weight before. So here's number 5 intake. You can see I adjusted 6, I got the 5, and I had it all the way backed off, and yeah, there was no gap. I could not back it off anymore. Same with number 3, couldn't back it off anymore, which is a problem, obviously, because the valves would close, but your rocker adjustment is just out. So looking at this one, it's the right side or exhaust side one intake valve that was the problem here. It was about 1/10 of an inch difference, which is pretty significant. And then on number 3, it was actually the left side or intake one, or intake side one, that was higher. It's kind of hard to tell from here because the intakes generally sit higher than the exhaust ones, but yeah, they were pretty bad recess. Customer not too happy about that. So first time trying this puppy out, let's see what happens. Took those cam bolts out pretty easy, but of course they're only about 200 foot-pounds. And but it is nicer having the thinner body, because yeah, it's much harder to get the larger one in there. And that's my main problem with the older one, wasn't that it didn't hit hard. I mean, I could do main bearings with it most of the time. It's just, it was too long and very heavy, just awkward to use. Now I got a deep 12-point half-inch drive socket. It's a Sunex one. I was going to get a Williams one, but it wouldn't have been here in time, unfortunately, to try this out. I've had really good luck with the Williams ones, or, well, Williams, but also Sunex. Most of my half-inch sockets are Sunex. Let's give it a try. No go, but this is only the 5 amp hour battery. Of course, I have a 12 and an 8. I should have tried them, but I wanted to try with just the 5. So, not blaming the gun yet, but let's try the other gun. So yeah, the first 3 I checked there, it didn't work. What I'm going to do is try my old half-inch, because I have both the guns here, to see, you know, maybe there's something wrong with this new gun. Could be the battery, obviously, also. Now, there is a new battery that Milwaukee has called the Forge battery, and they are quite expensive. The battery is almost as much as the gun. It was only... The gun was about $230, if I remember right, which is not bad at all. And let's try it with this one. This is the old one. Still nothing. So, as I usually end up doing, breaking them by hand, breaking them loose by hand, I should say, 3/4 inch drive breaker bar. with the special socket, and yeah, just breaking them by loose. These were pretty tight, but they weren't rusted in place or carbon packed tight, which is a good sign. When they're super bad and rusted or carbon packed, it can almost, I mean, you're bending that bar to get it to move, and I think it's a 48-inch bar or something like that. Quite a bit of leverage on there. But yeah, we're going to break the outer ones loose by hand here. And then we're going to try, because sometimes you've just got the outer ones or something. I'm going to keep trying with the impact, because maybe these were the tightest ones for some reason. I'm not sure. So what we're going to do is just break them loose, like I said. And I've actually, even when I had 3/4 impact with air, I would usually break them loose by hand, because I found even with the 3/4, sometimes they wouldn't loosen. And I really hate going back and forth with tools. I'd rather just pop them all loose with one tool. But let's try the impact again, not giving up on her. Like I said, it's also with small battery. So that took them off. So yeah, the inner around cylinder 2 working fine. See me kind of jumping all over the place. I was doing it actually in reverse head torquing order, which I usually do, but it's outer and then inward. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I would say the impact took about 80, maybe 85% of the head bolts out. It seemed like those outer, like around cylinder 6 and cylinder 1, were the tightest for some reason. I might try with the 8 amp hour battery next. I still have to do the main bearings, obviously. We're just getting the head off here at this point, but I'm going to try it with the main bearings, because my other gun would always, not always, most of the time do the main, so hopefully this one will also do it. If you guys made it this far, how about a little destruction of the week? Our first destruction of the week comes from Caesar, and Caesar said he was having a boost problem, and he couldn't find it for a little while, and then he pulled the turbo off, and something looks a little off there. Yeah, cracking between the flange here is normal. I have never seen one completely disintegrated like that, though. That is crazy. He obviously replaced it, and that helped his boost out. Pretty bad. So this engine here is a 6NZ. I actually did the overhead on it last year and helped fix his jakes. But he said it ran great for a while, and then all of a sudden the jakes were a little bit weaker for some reason. So pull the valve covers off, and look at that. Number 2, the little elephant foot or whatever you want to call it, the cup was missing. Look, see on the plunger? You can still see the little retaining ring there. So that is probably part of his problem. Went fishing for him. They were right there in that freeze plug area, right there, both of them. Just broke right in half. It's almost like they were cut in half. That's pretty crazy. Not sure if you can get just that piece. It would be nice if you could. I guess we'll have to find out, but looks like that took care of that problem. So successfully able to remove, or well, loosen all the head bolts. You can see they're still in there. But taking a look at them, just for carbon packing and rust, pretty clean. They're fairly dry. Usually you'll have more molybdenum paste or oil around the threads there, but not sure when these head bolts had ever been out before. So, but pretty clean. You could see them with being that dry, how they could be a little tight, like especially that one, which actually I believe that one I was able to remove with the impact. No, not that one, the one next to it, more towards cylinders 5 there. But yeah, most of them, pretty much all the center ones came out with the impact. Lifting the head here with the beautiful crane. Rigging is a little suspect. Actually got a better way to rig it, which I'll show you next video, hopefully. So here's our valve recession. Yeah, look at the lip there, right in that valve. You should not be able to see that. That means that valve has moved up considerably compared to that one, where you cannot see the ridge. So yeah, that is basically, even though it's still sealing now, unfortunately, your rockers don't have enough movement in the adjuster to make up for that. And if you had kept running it like this, big problems would happen. I mean, eventually that valve will just keep moving up. And since you're opening and closing it in different phase than the other valves, it can cause a drop valve, a bent valve, something major that you generally, you don't want it for your engine. So looking at the health of the engine here, we have the head gasket, and you always want to take a look at fire rings, especially between the cylinders. So there's some discoloration there, not completely blown out, but especially around cylinder 2 and cylinder 5. Not looking too good. Like I said, not blown yet, but there's some marks there. Didn't video it, but we did liner protrusion, and 2 and 5 were sunk. They had some sections that were about 2 thousandths low. Cylinder condition, not great. Basically polished. There's almost no crosshatch left, which unfortunately customer opted, which I think correctly, to pull the cylinders out and rebuild the engine. So as you can see, guys, we made some progress here. I got the oil pan off, mopped the floor, which I actually got a mop. Well, this customer had their own mop, but I bought a mop and a mop bucket and a wringer because it's been annoying not having my own. Kind of always not keeping the floor as clean as I would like, so we fixed that. So what's going on here? Well, of course, valve recession was our main problem. That's going to get fixed. We got a new cat head, but pulled the liner, liner protrusion on 2 and 5 was off. It was sunk. 5 was starting to lose the head gasket. So pulled the liners out. Number 6 was already cut. Had a 32,000 shim. It's cut to 32. Cut this one to 30. These ones looked fine as far as liner protrusion goes in the inspection area. 1 also. 2 looked, if I was just looking at it, I'd say iffy. So, but it measured low, so we cut it. So 6 had already been cut. We did 2 and 5, 1, 3, and 4 already good to go. Customer went with an aftermarket kit, although it's kind of a hodgepodge because we have a cat head. But Interstate McBee, I believe they're out of Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. I've heard of them, but I've never used any of their stuff before. So this is the liner kits that we got. Is not assembled, as you can see. It doesn't come with a rod. The customer did buy rods separately, though. From my initial impressions, they seem decent. We'll see. Some of their stuff, like this one says made in the USA, or made in the United States. Wrist pin, made in Taiwan. I'm not sure where the liner was made. Same with the piston and the skirt. It's 2-piece aluminum skirt. Appears to be a forged piston, could be wrong. Pretty good instructions here, better than CAT gives you for initial run-in. Piston installation guide, ring guide. Also for the liner protrusion being inspected. Tells you what to use, where they go. The instructions are pretty nice so far. So I'm going to do liner protrusion first, then we're going to try our new Milwaukee on the main bearings. Alright guys, so we got our kits out, getting ready to do our liner protrusion. Got our 6 liners. First big problem, liner seals, right? Seem to be good quality. Oh, no, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I re-looked through all 6 boxes. I even looked in the piston ring kits. This one, which, you know, they're not numbered, but this is going to be number 6. There was no liner seals in the kit. That creates a problem. You don't know this, folks, but this is actually Saturday morning. And I don't know if you could run cat O-rings with an aftermarket kit. Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. This isn't something I'd gamble with, though, so I wouldn't say let's put cat O-rings on it, which I think I actually have a whole set on, I believe.
probably want to use Interstate McBee, which up to this point, which just looking at initially seemed fine, but we're missing one of the liner kits. So that really makes this sucks now, because I can put these in dry, do a liner protrusion, but I can't do final install. Which if I can't do one of the packs, I can only do 5. That's really going to slow down everything. I guess I could do the main bearings and 5 of the liners, but kind of dumb. So getting at the end of the video here, folks, kind of a postscript. Customer reached out to Interstate McBee on Monday. They had the liner seals there the next day overnighted. You know, it's everyone can make mistakes, but they fixed it right away. So, you know, simple mistake. We'll be looking at the rest of the parts, though, in the next video. Thanks for watching.